Okay, great. So I guess we'll get started. It's nice seeing everyone. And today, generally, the way we're going to spend our short time together is just talking about some updates, which actually Yasmin just provided. We're just going to review very quickly some recent conversations we had around the Vare essence. We're hoping to take a look at some photographs for like a next step in the Vare essence conversation, so that we can just talk through certain like ideas and styles, things that people like or don't like. And then at the end, we're just going to take a look at the general budget to provide an update to everyone on where things stand as they're designed. And just offer like some information that will be used in a future meeting with Parks and Rec. So we are hoping to schedule a meeting with Parks and Rec not quite 2 weeks from now. So they're not available 2 Wednesdays from now, November the 11th, which is also Veterans Day. And I'm sure many people will be spending time with family. But they are available Monday, November 9th and Tuesday, November 10th. It's included in the email that Steph shared, the biweekly update. We'd like to schedule one of those days as soon as possible. So if either Monday the 9th at this same time, 6 p.m., if Monday the 9th or Tuesday the 10th are really bad for community members in general, that would be helpful for us to know so we can schedule accordingly. But if either of those dates work really well for you, that would be helpful too. So if you have thoughts on that now, welcome to share. If you want to think about it and check calendars and things like that, please do. And we're always available by email.
Thanks.
And then a couple general notes that we try to share often. Please feel free to ask questions. We try to make things as clear as possible, but sometimes we mess up. Please mute your mic if you're not speaking, just so everyone can hear others clearly when they're sharing. Feel free to take care of yourself if you want to check on the kids or get something to eat or drink or step away. Obviously, please feel free to do that. And then just a note that we are recording so that we can go back and make sure we have notes and share with others who wanted to be here but couldn't attend. So if you have any issues with that, as always, just let us know. So I am going to share screen to just touch on a few things that we talked about in the last few meetings. Oh, hi, Anthony. Welcome.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Cool. Can everyone see my screen? If not, please just wave or let me know. But so, like I just mentioned, we are recording. Please ask questions. Please take care of yourself. The last couple meetings, we've been talking about Vare essence, and some of that started when we visited youth camp, and we're with some of the 11 to 16-year-olds in the summer, and they were talking about spacing that they were really interested in, the way they like to hang out, that they wanted to lounge, but they also wanted to be in spaces that weren't like perfect squares or perfect circles. They wanted some more uniqueness to it, but they also wanted to be able to kind of separate themselves and find some personal space a bit away from their friends. Steph was with some of the younger summer campers, like in the 6 to 10 year age range. And actually they shared some similar things. They liked making forts, but they also liked the idea of being perched and looking from above, if they could climb into a space and have this, this kind of outlook. And so we took both of these conversations a step further with some of the Vare adults that kind of lead and run programming, and some things that we heard were that the adults also liked to find their own personal space to kind of decompress or unplug or unwind. Some folks shared that they like to do that in a small space to themselves. Other folks shared that they might like to do so with a cup of tea or near some plants, or just find a space where they could step away and really find some peace and focus. And that was the basis of conversations a number of weeks back. And then last week, we also talked about the ideas of certain spaces and the kinds of activities or the verbs. We looked at like celebrating or gaming or gathering, and what areas on site might be best for those verbs. And some really good conversations actually that came out of this, and also like inside conversations, were some precedents that Anthony shared. He sent photos from Shepherd Rec at 57th and Haverford. And Anthony really liked that there was this kind of like covered solid space where folks could play games or they could picnic no matter what the weather was, and how important that might be. And Anthony also shared photos of some of these game tables and seating elements. And there were a lot of conversations around being able to have a flexible space, a space where someone could play games, but they could also sit and have conversations. And to take that one step further, the idea of being able to have enough space where someone could bring their own chair and set up a chair so that they could form different size groups of, if there are 2 seats, then 2 more or 4 more people could kind of join in on the conversation or the game or things like that. And so those conversations about flexibility in space were really helpful. And they, I think, were inspired by some of these photos that Anthony shared. So thank you, Anthony. So tonight, for like the next 15 minutes or so, maybe 20, we were hoping to take a look at some photos that our team pulled together of public spaces. And we're going to look at them in terms of those verbs again, like this idea of lounging and what lounging has been designed to look like in certain spaces. So I think we can just get started. And again, based on some of these feedback elements that we heard from the youth at Vare wanting to like put their feet up and lounge. Our team just grabbed photos from public spaces. And again, if you can see this okay, great. If you are having trouble seeing it, please let me know. So these are just like some ideas of lounging, and what that might look like in a newly designed or newly built public space. So we're hoping to just have conversation, like full and open. If there's anything you like about these photos or anything you don't like, if anything says like lounge to you or anything doesn't say lounge to you, all of that feedback is really helpful for our team to hear as we move into this next phase of design.
I like.
No.
I like it shows safety. I like. I focus on safety a lot, and I like the spaciousness because and not too much. This is really neat. Even with the hammocks, hammocks again, you got to be careful. They could be a liability, but you just but the fact that and they're so relaxing. I love hammocks. Hammocks it's therapeutic, and I think therapy is important. And I think when we're in our recreation, when we're relaxing, it's therapeutic, and that's how we want to apply it. I think you should be able to incorporate a little bit of everything in you do, daily. Yeah, I like all these.
Yeah, thank you, Stacy. And to build on your comment a little bit, the idea of hammocks, like, we don't know if Parks and Rec would go for that, obviously.
Yeah, we probably won't, but okay. But no, yeah. I mean, the city, I'm risk management. So, I have to always focus on public safety because I get the claims.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I think your ideas that you're sharing around safety and things that are therapeutic are really important, because even if we can't make hammocks happen, our team can work to design seating or spaces that are in that way therapeutic and kind of replicate some of those elements.
Yeah, comfy, cozy.
Yes, comfy, cozy. That's something we heard from I think Mr. Bill last workshop, and also Tiffany, the importance for comfortable seating. Yeah, and so if anyone has thoughts on seating that is or is not comfortable, I think we also we have another slide about relaxation, and there are some other seating elements on that one. So I'll just jump to that as well. So if any of these kind of seating elements, and if they speak to lounge or if they speak to relaxation or comfy, cozy, things like that. Also, if you don't like stuff, that's cool too. Please let us know, because that's equally as helpful if anything doesn't feel like Vare.
Is the third slide outdoors under a bridge type thingy? What's that? Is that like under I-95? What is it?
Yeah, I don't think it's 95. I think
no, I know it's not 95. Looks too good to be 95. But it just reminds me of that. It looks neat, like almost like under an L. I can't really tell what's on top.
Yeah, I think the top is that it's built under some sort of public transportation element or a
Okay.
roadway, and so yeah, there's definitely an element of like
Right. I mean, that's a great use of space. That's a great use of space. I like that. That's
I'm
neat.
pretty sure that project is at is Platform Park, and it's by a really busy intersection in Los Angeles underneath the light rail line.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you, Ellen.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else from Vare have thoughts on any of these ideas around seating or lounging or relaxing?
I like the second picture right there where it says television.
Yep.
I just like that space in terms of like how the seating is.
Yeah.
One, it brings togetherness, and two, you know, everyone's like in their own little relaxed type of world. I mean, I would sit there, you know, and look, you know, the grass and everything. So I really like that one. The first one, I'm not really sure, but that second one I like. And I like the third one too.
I like the first one, the path. I love abstract.
Yeah, the design is nice.
Yeah, that path
is really nice.
Yeah, kids like to jump in and out. You can make a play thing out of it. You know, don't step on the crack, but you know, don't step on that plate.
Right.
Yeah, so actually then I think what I'm hearing from both Stacy and Tiffany is that like the idea of flexibility in these spaces is important, and that goes along with things that we've been hearing all along. So I appreciate you reinforcing it, because if you're mentioning that you could be together or you could be solitary or alone in these spaces, and that there's also kind of a layer where it's not just a seating space, you can make it into a play space if you'd like to. I think those are really helpful. Thank you. Does anyone else have any other comments about these lounge spaces? And if not, that's totally fine, and we can move on to some other images to talk about as well. Also, I should mention, I think I forgot to mention it when we got started. If anyone has comments that you want to submit in the chat, while I'm sharing screen, I probably can't see them, but Steph can also keep an eye on the chat if there are any questions that we want to bring to light now, or things that you just want to submit, and we will record the chat and make sure that our team sees those comments and we can address them later. So there's flexibility there. If you don't want to speak up during the meeting, that's completely fine. So just moving on to this idea of watching, that I think both groups of youth, different ages, kind of they shared with us in different ways. And our team pulled together a number of images that you know, are different spaces, some of them brighter, some of them darker, some of them small or larger, kind of like overlooking spaces. So yeah, if there's any ideas around watching, and this is something that we also hope to talk to youth more about when we have discussions around the playground. So please be aware that youth will have a chance to share more about, you know, what they want to be like perched, or how they want to be perched, and what they want to be looking at, and things like that. But I think
is number 3 an outdoor theater type? Like, is there a stage in front of these steps, this seating? Number 3.
Yeah, the third one, is this the one you're talking about, Stacy?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think I don't know that we know what is on the other side of that, but that kind of seating element where folks can be close.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, that's it. Just that it's a seating element where there's flexibility.
I mean, I can see that as a theater, like, you know, if not off street. There's a street near there, but like at the Penn's Landing, we have something similar to that with the stage where they do the outdoor shows, right? It looks, don't we got something like that?
Yeah. definitely. It's a lot. The one at Penn's Landing is a lot bigger, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I like this option for various uses and durability. And when you think about like weather and things like that, and you break down over the years, this doesn't seem like something that will be you know,
sustainable.
easy to destroy. It's sustainable and it will still look nice.
Mm-hmm. I think that I actually agree with that. I think that this kind of entryway slash stage, so to speak, or lounging area would probably fit best in the back area, where we were talking about there was going to be this kind of space for maybe downtime, and it's like an in-between space where kids could see what's going on in the basketball courts or on the sports field, or just with kids playing in the park area. So this might be the perfect area for people to kind of to be able to check in, but also be checked out a little bit as well.
Absolutely, I agree. Because when you think about like events with you want to accommodate multiple sets of people. So when you say if there is, something being utilized on the sports field, but then there's still families who don't necessarily want to be involved in the sports field, but still may want to be there with their children, or they want to be there involved in the sports field, but they may have younger children who need space to be able to run around and not interfere with the things that are going on in the sports field.
The only thing about the design, I might like the back a little higher, just so, I don't know if that would be possible. I don't know anything about architect, but
I agree.
Just a little higher backing and maybe some rails, like just to kind of separate, people with their own groups, like, but it's everything they said was great.
When you start saying higher, you're just thinking about like more back support when you're
more back support, correct?
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
I mean, this could also be a meeting area too, where people may be standing up and that somebody may be perched up high, and they're giving out information for various things, whether that be community gatherings or whether that be sports information or dance information or any kind of information, just an area where they can see one person or a group of people that are providing that information. So I think something like this, where at least they can be perched up, will definitely be beneficial.
Yes. Great.
Awesome. Thank you for all that feedback. It's really helpful. Okay, so I just want us to move on to some gaming elements, because that was something, Anthony, I know you sent some game tables in your photos, and also it kind of came up last week from Mr. Bill as well. And just thinking about the kinds of gaming and the style of gaming that might be welcomed based on group sizes or activities that people might like. And I think, Mike, you had some really great feedback in the past that was helpful around the ability for like game pieces to be kept maybe outside near these spaces, so that folks don't have to come into the building to get them and then take them outside. And there's like opportunity for, for some loss there. So yeah, we just were hoping to talk about gaming a little bit. Any thoughts on any of these photos or other styles of gaming that you all think would work really well?
Definitely checkers and chess. And they have so many different designs for those now. I saw one earlier with the little round stools, but definitely checkers and chess is something. So long as it's nothing electronic, as long as everything's geared to outside play. I want to see nothing that has to do with you linking up or plugging in.
Yeah.
So, I just, that ball, that Italian ball right there is really neat, like a skee ball or skill ball with, what's up on the shuffleboard? Some good old fashioned games. And of course, I think it should be probably where you can change them from time to time and not keep the same ones, and kind of get a feel of what's more popular or what becomes more popular.
Possibly like a concrete table with like game boards that flip, So maybe one side would be, because everything that I think about with the new Vare is multiple use and maximum use. So say if there was like, concrete tables with checkers on one side, chess on another side, and then like another table with some other type of board games. Sorry, I'm not 100% familiar with them, but just to keep it.
And chess played on the same board. Okay.
Oh, see, look, I didn't even know that. So
wait to say that. No, I'm joking.
Oh, okay. So, those other games will be on those other boards, and then you can flip it.
Backgammon. I'm a backgammon.
Yes.
I would love to teach backgammon.
All those games.
I would
they
love
will be on
card games. I would love to teach some pinochle. I would love, I would love to card, anything, and the concrete is definitely wonderful because it it's durable, it's safe, so long as the edges are smooth, we're good.
Yep.
Lot of hopscotch, double Dutch places where they can jump some double Dutch, just good outside tops and tooties. Even a little half ball, but
things to accommodate all ages from 0, whatever.
And like I said, the seniors like that shuffleboard. They like that shuffleboard. This Italian game, you always found a lot of seniors played it. Men and women.
Yeah.
So begins with a B. I forgot the bacca.
Oh, bocce. Yeah.
Bocce.
Okay. Yeah, that's really helpful to hear about the games, and also the durability of the materials is really important. So thank you for sharing that those ideas and feedback. Mike, did you also have something to share? Oh, Mike, I think you're on mute.
Oh yeah, that's why I was trying to get something in. I like space 1 and 2 because when I deal with the kids, the teenagers, a lot of times the older ones don't want to do what the other kids are doing. So that would be a perfect space. The second picture with the benches facing the seating.
Yeah.
That would be a perfect space sometimes because the older kids sometimes want to do their own thing, whether they playing on their phone or playing any electronic or cards or whatever. They just sometimes want their privacy, and you still be able to see them. So I think that would be number 2 would be a perfect space for that. And the first space would be good too for like ping pong and things like that, because you have a lot of space in between the tables and stuff like that. And I think we should bring ping pong and all those type of things back. So that's good to me.
Yes, ping pong.
I agree.
Yeah.
And it kind of collaborates both worlds if that was able to be like interchangeable of some sort. So I like that as well.
Thank you. Mike, I just one follow-up just to make sure that we're understanding your comment about the teams properly. You want to make sure that there are like enough small spaces so that they can get away and have their own space, but also be close enough to whoever is acting as kind of like a program leader or a guardian or things like that.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Great, thank you. This is all really helpful. I think we have a few more minutes to talk about this, and maybe we could talk about exercising a little bit. So it is a Parks and Rec requirement that newly built playground spaces also have spots for adult exercise as well, not just youth like playground areas. So some of you might be familiar with the workout space at Smith Playground at 25th and Snyder, or other active like adult workout spaces throughout the city. So I think it would be helpful, and we can spend more time on this in the future. This is not the only time that we'll talk about this active or exercise space, but just understanding some ideas around should adult exercise space be kind of like wide open, or should there be like elements that are static in place? Should there be elements that move? Things like that. Yeah.
We talked about a track around the field. So jogging and being able to run around the south perimeter. That's definitely adultish. Everybody likes to run these days, and ping pong, if you're playing ping pong, that's a workout for adults. I work out when I play ping pong.
I'm trying to figure out, what was your question again, Ken? What was your question again? I'm sorry.
I think the question my question was really just to start conversation, but for me, like a first step is it about like wide open space, or is it about these like, this picture that I'm zooming in on now, these are kind of elements that are like bars for like calisthenics that are like fixed in place. Some of these other photos include elements where maybe they're more single exercise specific, or maybe they have moving parts. They're kind of more like a one station gym.
Well, you first said it's a requirement. He made it clear, Mike, that it's a requirement that we have to have adult space for. Is it specifically exercising?
It is, yeah. They're going to want exercise equipment, but I think we can approach that flexibly. Like,
do you guys have an internal workout room you talked about? I thought y'all told me. I remember seeing it. Would that count, or does it have to be outdoors?
Yeah,
I know you guys said you have an indoor workout room, right?
This would need to be outdoors.
Outdoors, yeah. Okay. So Mike,
I would say.
The trend.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I would say not the first one, because if you're already going to have a sports field that is open space.
That's what I was thinking.
So I would say absolutely not to the first one. And then again, you want to think about things that would have multiple use. So even though the requirement is for adults to have a, space to work out, that space will be for everyone to be able to work out. So I think something with equipment that, can accommodate everyone would be more useful than having open space, because we're already going to have the open space. And hopefully the plan is we will have a track around the field, so we won't need anywhere for anyone to actually walk, because that's the plan already.
Right. That's what.
So it definitely needs to be something that's useful, that with equipment. So.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And that's, I think that is exactly kind of what I'm getting to with this idea that the photo that I'm zooming in on right now is like very specific to exercise. It's like very clear what this is for.
And again, I'm going to always play devil advocate. With equipment, again, comes liability. So careful with people using things on your premises, and you're not having waivers saying, hey, if you happen to pass out while you're doing this, it's on you. But so I mean,
but I'm sure that can be fixed with those signs that, just like
whatever waiver comes in all different manners.
Right. So anything that says for adult use, if a child is using it, please have adult, please attend it with an adult and stuff like that. So I think that can be accommodated by just those posts alone.
Right.
Yeah. That's something that we've noticed at Smith, for example, that like these single posts, they can be used for like various exercises or bar exercises or workouts, but we also see kids playing on them like they are an additional play element and not necessarily like exercise focused. So there's some flexibility, and we can definitely have more conversation about that too.
Yeah, I like those bars at Smith. They're pretty much like where you can have just a couple of those, and like it could be in a small space. You could just have those 2 or 3 bars, and I think that'll be sufficient for adults. Just like you said, you could do multiple activities on them.
Cool. Thank you, Ollie. Thank you, Stacy and Mike and Yasmin. Okay, cool. So we will definitely schedule more follow-up conversation about that as well. Those conversations will probably move kind of hand in hand with the conversations that we have with the youth around the playground elements as well. Since we have about 15 minutes left, I do want to jump to general budget update very quickly, just so everyone, we are on the same page and we can have good conversations about it moving forward. So,
good idea.
Thanks, Warren. I appreciate the support. For the overall project budget, the way that it's generally broken up is that like 80+% of the project budget is going towards the construction of the space. Just under 10% of it is going towards the design and the engagement on the project, and just under 10% of it is going towards the development and project management associated fees. So the breakouts of those 3 like large buckets make up the total $14 million budget. When we start getting into the construction budget specifically, based on the design as it is now, which I think many of you have seen, but not all of you. So actually, I will pull it up very quickly. This is the general site plan. There have been some adjustments to the site plan, but in general, there is the multi-use field, there is the new building, There's the seating area out back the building, as well as a playground and water play, so like a splash pad or a spray pad. There are a couple outdoor basketball courts, and the pool is shown in this image, as well as some of those gaming spaces, which, you know, they're not fully defined yet, but there is space being held for those. So that's the general overall plan. In terms of the construction budget, the building construction is almost 60% of the total budget, about like 7.5 million. The site construction or the site work is about 4.5 million, or 35-ish%, and demolition is like 5 or 6%. So if we break out those site costs as well, to just go one step deeper, you know, that the 36% that was site work in the last image, really, you can see that in everything that's not like the blue or the dark gray here. So like 10% of the construction budget is going to the field, 6% to hardscape, 6% to like some earthwork and prep of the actual land, 4% to utilities, 2% of the budget to the outdoor basketball, to the water play, and to like site furnishings and fence work. So that's a general overall breakdown of just like a distribution. When we talk about the budget as a whole, as I mentioned, the construction budget is about 10.5 million. There is like 1 million in reserve for contingency, just for when we find something that we didn't know was there once we start building stuff, which is kind of bound to happen, or any like changes that need to happen during construction. In that proposed site plan that I showed, the proposed renovation is about 12.5 million. So we're 2 million over budget as it stands right now. We do have like ideas for items or ways to value engineer that budget back down. One example of that is actually the track that you all were mentioning. As the building got bigger in the design, it kind of spread east to west, or a little bit wider, and it caused the track from around the field to be removed. And so those are, I think, conversations that we're hoping to have moving forward to help drive some of that decision making, where, you know, if the building getting bigger allows for an extra basketball court, but causes the removal of a track, you know, that's something that is a value engineering decision. That being said, there are ways that we can incorporate like a walking track into like the sidewalk around the site, or into the perimeter of the site, that is not exactly like a physical track. Again, similar to Smith, there are like some lines painted at Smith that have distances, so folks know how far they're going or how far they've gone. So we can get creative about things. It doesn't mean that the ideas are gone. It just means that that physical representation of the idea, you know, might not be able to be sustained in the budget. And then the pool is something we've talked about in the past, where I know that past communication was the pool was really over budget because the cost of the pool itself was $2 million. And there were conversations about separate fundraising happening for the pool to support that in the project moving forward. So with the current proposed renovations, we're at like 12.5 million, or 2 million over budget. When we add the pool to that, it's at 14.5 million, or 4 million over budget. So some of the conversations that are happening now around the budget are, how much additional funds can we raise? And what should those additional funds go to? What are the priorities? And I think there are going to be like tough conversations and decisions that we'll have to make moving forward with you all around what can stay, what could go, and how do we kind of align things where necessary. So that being said, I just want to make sure that everyone had this general information before future conversations. If there are any general questions, we have time to talk about them now in like the next 10 minutes. I don't have a fully like detailed line budget to get into, but we don't need to make any like cuts or changes tonight. But we're happy to discuss like any questions about the overall budget.
I would definitely say propose to remove the track, because the pool is more of a priority than the track, because there's various ways that you can accommodate running, walking, and getting in physical exercise that way. without
Mhm.
it interrupting, being placed in the budget. So I would definitely say pool over track any day.
Yes,
Like you said, when you
yes.
can walk around the building itself, you could put the lines with so that's a great idea around the parameter of the building.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Does anyone have questions about any of these like splits and how they work? I mean, I can provide a bit more information about them if needed.
Can you go back to the slide to the right?
This one?
Yes. Hold on. What did I have a question about? Lost my train of thought. I can't remember what the question was.
That's okay.
It'll come back.
Will these slides be emailed as well?
What's that, Anthony?
Will these slides be emailed as well?
Yeah, we will share them.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Again, we want everyone to be like really aware and transparent about where the money is going to in the project. So if you have questions after we share them via email, please feel free to email, call, text, whatever works best.
What exactly is hardscape? What are you referencing when you say hardscape?
Yeah, hardscape is basically like all the concrete or asphalt throughout the site. So walkways, pavements, things like that.
I call it masonry, but okay. Okay.
Yeah.
An earthwork prep plan, is that the gardening and the greenery, and is that the trees?
Yeah, I think that got cut off a little bit. So that includes like planting is one of the elements in there. The earthwork and the prep, that is like site preparation. So after demolition happens, like making sure that the ground and the surface is prepared for whatever is
landscaping. That's the landscaping.
Well, it's also like any earthwork. So for example, for like the basketball courts or the field, the field and the basketball courts will have like layers underneath them of like, of stone so that there is proper support and structure. So all that is included there.
Okay. So that's where our permits and a lot of permits. Okay. Utilities. Is that ongoing? Utilities, this is for the equipment that the generators or anything will be used then. This is not referencing your ongoing utilities, right? What's utilities exactly?
Yeah, I think utilities, Stacy, is some of the site elements. Like there might be some electrical in there as well as some of the required stormwater management work. So if there are
upgrading the additional electrical, plumbing, electrical refers to the changing of the plumbing and electrical, anything that needs to be moved or.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And I did have a question. I heard earlier you mentioned kind of layout, and you mentioned spray park and pool.
Yep.
I think that I'm not sure who needs to make sure that they are clear that the community definitely is advocating for a pool.
Yes.
All right, because I think we're I know that the powers that be may say, well, a spray park is safer and it's cheaper and it's easier, but that was one of the things that everybody in the community was kind of harping on, either fix the pool or replace the pool. But the pool was definitely one of those aspects that we wanted to have included into the new Vare.
Right.
So I want to make sure that that's emphasized enough, and actually overemphasized.
Right. Oh, absolutely. I think probably why they just to follow up, I think probably why they put both is because originally we talked about having both, because we were talking about being able to accommodate those that can swim, those that can't, those who come with their old, younger siblings, and maybe the older ones can swim and the younger ones cannot, and you don't want to turn the kids away because one person can do something and one can't. So we were trying to figure out a way to accommodate both, and so that's probably why both. I'm assuming. I'm sorry.
I didn't think it was or either. I thought it was both. Pool
I just wanted to,
not or. I thought it was not or.
I just wanted to make sure that we were kind of clear that if there was a budgetary issue,
first.
Absolutely, we're for the community is we're for the pool. Absolutely.
Yes. I thought it was the word and, not or. I didn't think it was water pool or. I thought it was both. So we can eliminate, like you said, that splash, or what would y'all call it? Springy, what is it?
Yeah, it's,
Spray,
I don't
They
know,
call it a spray
spray,
ground.
spray ground.
spray ground. I think Miss Case likes the term spray pool. But
But
yeah,
already have, they got like the one on 24th Street, like y'all got at Smith over there. That, well, I don't know if it operated, but they had put the little like, palm trees and the water comes out of it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and thank you, Anthony, for bringing that up. That's I think it's helpful for that to be reiterated consistently, that how important the pool is. It was not intended like trade one out for the other, because they're two very different size investments. So for example, like that spray pad or spray pool or whatever we want to call it, that might cost like $200,000, and a new pool is going to cost like close to $2 million. So it's not, as you're saying, Trace or Stacy, sorry, it's not one or the other. What we've heard from community members is that that they would both be there. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. So thank you. Yes, we will share this info. We also will set up that meeting with Parks and Rec. Again, if you all have strong thoughts or feelings about a Monday or Tuesday, if one of them works better or worse, that would be helpful, because we will set it up for 2 weeks from now, either November 9th or November 10th.
Any day's good for me, either day.
Okay. Yeah, and in the meantime, if you do have other questions, again, after we share this set, please feel free to reach out and we can discuss further. We had a couple meetings with Rebuild today, so we have some next steps for our design team and for the cost estimating team to kind of keep moving things forward to further refine the drawings and the budget. So we will continue to do that and share updates as we have them. I know we're almost at time. So if anyone has anything else that they wanted to share or touch on, even if we can't get into it now, if you want to bring it up right now and Steph or I could follow up, or other member of the team could follow up, we'd be happy to hear it.
Do we have any kind of idea of a tentative groundbreaking at this point to start the construction?
Like an actual date, Yasmin?
Anything tentative, like fall 2021, spring 2021, like what are we looking at this point?
Yeah, I think fall 2021 is the general window.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, and I know you didn't ask this question, but I am going to bring it up because I think it comes, it's important. They kind of go hand in hand. From our conversations with Parks and Rec, the program relocation is something that would happen, between like 2 to 4 months before that. So if groundbreaking is going to be mid-fall 2021, then program relocation likely happens somewhere around midsummer 2021.
Okay, thank you. And who do you know, you may not know the answer to this, would that be the responsibility of the rec leader to let all of the programs know, in terms of when relocation should begin tentatively and stuff?
Yeah, I think if we're going all the way up, I think from the very top, I think Orlando is the director of programs at Parks and Rec. And so he would be involved in conversations around where programs are relocated to. And we hope to have conversations with you all and other community members about that, because we've already heard from folks that, they know people at like Vare Middle School, for example, and that might be able to house the basketball program for a number of months or a year or something like that. So those conversations probably happen, with Orlando to begin with. And then as dates get like more clearly defined and locations are more clearly defined, I believe it would be the rec leader who would be responsible for sharing that information locally. But we can also work with you all to flyer and distribute that information as needed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And could you address Lisa's comment in the chat box about the pool?
Lisa says pool not in budget, folks, unless we have a $4 million GoFundMe fundraiser. So that's a great comment, Lisa. Yes, that budget that I showed where the construction budget was 10.5, the current proposed budget is 12.5. with the pool, it's 14 and a half. So I think conversations moving forward will be focused very directly on what additional fundraising goes towards. So, for example, if there are ways that we can, trim budget or save money on certain programs to get the budget closer to that 10.5 million, and the pool is 2 million above that, then maybe all the additional fundraising goes to the pool, for example. If having a bigger building is a requirement, then maybe some of that additional fundraising goes towards the bigger building. So ultimately, thank you, Lisa. This is a really great comment. We don't anticipate a full fundraising need to be 4 million, but it will certainly be over 1 million. It will be like, in the millions. Hopefully not.
Hey, Kim. Before we go.
Yeah.
Miss Lisa, yeah, you did pull up a valid point, but I understand like there's budgets and stuff like that, but us being the voice of our community and for our people, I ain't even gonna hold you. I don't even care about no bigger building or anything like that. Keeping the pool in our neighborhood is our #1 priority, and that's really where we stand. We're not backing down.
Absolutely.
That's dead
Absolutely.
serious. That's our #1 thing. We are keeping that pool. So whatever has to get cut out is going to get cut out because the pool that's our #1 priority. Keep the pool.
Right.
We're
Absolutely.
not letting the pool go. We're not letting it go.
Mm.
We're not letting it go. And next week, when we're in that meeting next week, the amount of people that we got here, it needs to be more people. But if it's only going to be these people that's on this call all the time, they got to hear it too. We're not backing down from not having a pool.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. African Americans die like 5 times more. Their rate of dying by drowning is like 5 times higher than that of their white counterparts because African Americans do not learn how to swim, and that's what ends up happening. And that's the reason for the push for the pool, because our kids need it, and that's what's in the community.
And we made that clear from the beginning. This is not something that just came about. We told stories about it. I remember telling a story about it. So that's, as everyone has stated, we can't say it anymore. It's the #1 priority. So we'll reduce here, cut here, do everything, but we keep in our pool.
Ken, can I ask you a question?
Always, yeah. What's up, Mike?
So when you listen to everything that you just heard, what do you think could be sacrificed in this situation?
It's a good question, Mike. First, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate all your comments, your advocacy, and your energy. I think that's really important. I love hearing it and appreciate it. And I agree with Warren that should be brought to every conversation moving forward. In terms of what should be cut, for me, I think you know that, like, for me, it's not so important what's at Vare other than what you all want. So if the pool is the top priority, that is going to be the message that I deliver to the city to rebuild. Considering the cost of the pool, there's no one thing that we can cut to make sure that the pool is in. There is going to have to be additional fundraising for the pool because it costs so much money that if we reduce the building size, we might be able to save $500,000. Or if we didn't have a certain field or a certain size playground area, like, there are certain amounts of money that we can start to pull away from the total budget, but there's nothing in the budget right now where we can trade it out like apples for apples. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I did want to note that there are members.
Really helpful.
Yeah, I also did want to note that there are members of Rebuild on this call. So even though we will share that information with them, they are also like listening in on this as well.
Yeah,
I can't remember if that was mentioned at the beginning or not.
Yeah, Natalie is on the call. I apologize. I meant to introduce her in the beginning. Natalie is, I believe her title is Deputy Director of Communications and Engagement. Natalie is kind of serving in the role that David used to be in. I know a number of you know David. She's kind of just listening in the background. I think she's also caring for children at this time. And I meant to give her a chance to introduce herself, but it slipped in the beginning. Natalie, do you want to take a second to say hi?
Oh, she's on mute. Yeah.
Unmute yourself. Unmute. Unmute. We can't hear you.
Not letting me.
Oh, we can hear you now, Natalie.
Oh, okay. All right, great. Sorry, my son was literally yammering away while you were talking about me. But hi, I'm Natalie. Nice to meet you. I don't know if you could see me. My screen looks frozen. As Ken was saying, I'm the new first deputy for Rebuild, kind of filling in where the role that David had previously. I'm new to the team, so I really just wanted to show up tonight and say and meet everyone and say hello, and say I'm looking forward to working with you.
Great, thanks, Natalie.
My son sounds like he wants to. He's telling me to stop. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back on mute.
We all know who makes the rules. It's all good. Thank you, Natalie, for the introduction. So yes, Natalie is here. She heard that. We will continue to compile notes, information, and send those to the city. And we will follow up about the meeting in about a week and a half. I think the person from Parks and Rec that will be on that meeting is the commissioner, Catherine Ott-Lovell. So if you all are available to join, that would be great. If you have others that you'd like to encourage to join, that would be great. If it's helpful for us to have any kind of like interim meeting or call to kind of like organize a bit around collective community message so that you all can advocate most directly with our support, we're happy to do that. So if any questions pop up, reach out. If not, thank you all for joining. It's good to see you all as always. Hi, Coach Ed. I actually was just seeing you now. It's always good to have you here. And I think we'll see some of you all on Monday. But we'll definitely talk in the coming weeks.
Great meeting. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks, Wally. Good meeting you.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Bye.
Bye, Lisa. Good seeing you.
Walaikum salam. All right, y'all.
Bye.
See you, Warren.